Hey YouTube, I want to talk about a trans tarot topic today. Maybe I'll make that a thing, trans tarot topics. This particular topic came up to me when I was thinking through some cards in the major arcana. And I kind of started from Temperance, which is a card that I have always really identified with since I learned about it as a non-binary person. But then I kind of expanded out and started thinking about the transition from transition from line 2 to line 3 as a trans experience, or what that is like for trans people, or how that is similar to a trans experience. And here are some thoughts on that. So I think about how if you look at the death card, so card 13, all about transformation, right? So on the face of it, I think is very easy to interpret as trans, very easy to fit the trans experience, or I shouldn't say there's no trans experience, but fit a trans experience into the death card. The death process, that recycling, composting, breaking down and tearing away what's old to make space for something new. That process in any context can be varying lengths, can be a sporadic process where we keep going back to it, just like transition. It doesn't look the same for everyone, but I think it's fairly easy to see how the process of shedding an old identity, or parts of an old identity, or your expression or body or anything, can be like that death experience of like a snake shedding its skin. And then Temperance, which I always thought of as relating to me as a non-binary person because of the alchemy, the blending of energies, the kind of like, it's almost like, I think of Temperance and its invitation to the divine as being something that is not fully understandable necessarily. And I think that's how I think about gender as well. Fluid and can be shifting and is fed by different elements. All of that makes sense for me with Temperance. But I'm actually going to talk about a different thing about Temperance here, with credit to Sarah M. Chappell, who gave me this idea in her Tarot for Self-Care course, which I recommend. The idea of Temperance as being about the rebirth after death. So you go through the transformation, you shed the skin, or you shed the cocoon and you come out a butterfly, right? Like, it's kind of a tired old metaphor, but I really love butterflies, and I love the idea of cocoons and butterflies when it comes to the trans experience. I know it's cliche, I know it's kind of whimsical, but I absolutely love it. I think we emerge as something new and something different, and that doesn't necessarily happen once, and that can be an ongoing, again, sporadic process. It can keep happening, but I think that Temperance in that way really makes sense to me as when you start to come out in the world, when you start to come out, when you start to share your identity, present a different way, maybe it's just using different name, pronouns, however you do it, but that is the kind of first stumbling steps. And I think Temperance can be an experience of, whew, this is a new me. I don't 100% know what that looks like. I have to trust the universe a little bit. I can't do this all on my own, and I am still learning I'm learning who I am. I'm still blending elements to figure out who this new me is. And then the reason I say that it kind of gets you from line 2 to line 3 is I think sometimes the whole death, temperance, devil, tower thing can be confusing to some people, especially to new readers, because it does kind of feel like, okay, you went through death, you emerged, and then now you're back down again. Like, you're back into devil energy. And I read the devil a little differently, but, you know, depending on how you read it, it is kind of a back down again. I think any way you read it is definitely a big knock on the ass. Even if you think of it as a really liberatory card, like the devil is intense. And then the tower, of course, is boom. And I think that this really resonates for me with the experience of transition or coming out as trans, because you can come out, you can do the Temperance thing, you can rebirth yourself, whether it's to yourself or others. Once you take those first stumbling steps, and often even as you are inventing yourself, I think the devil can be the experience of other people, whether it's other people doubting your gender, or whether it's your own like monkey mind, ego brain saying, you can't do this, you're too small for this, you're not capable of this big thing. There can be those doubts, and that maybe years, you know, can last years of, maybe in varying degrees, of feeling like I'm not sure, feeling doubt, feeling fear, feeling like the patterns of old stories around who you are, around gender. And the Tower can be, not for everyone, but I think the Tower can be a moment where what you thought your new life was going to be may get knocked out from under you. Or even if it's not in that like dramatic sense of like everything getting knocked out from under you, there can be an experience of the first time somebody like maliciously misgenders you, or the first like really tough gatekeeping experience you go through, is that external force that confronts you, that, you know, may knock down even the like beautiful foundation you're starting to build, or in a more positive way, may knock down even the stories that you're confronting in the devil. So I think sometimes some of us like rise to a challenge and feel that experience and come out like, no, fuck you, like I am who I am, right? Are able to use that experience to actually clear away the stories that other people tell, that other people want us to believe, the devil stuff that society writ large, or transphobic people, or transmisogynistic people, or racist people, like, I mean, of course, identities intersecting, you know, queerphobic people, want us to believe about ourselves. And sometimes that Tower moment can come through to knock that out, and we rise up stronger. Or sometimes it's a super difficult experience and there isn't much good that we can see in it, but what emerges is a person who is more able to live fully realized, who is more able to go forward. Of course, the Tower can be just downright shitty, but you always have the Star, so you always have the Star after. And so whatever it is, like, I think that core healing, that foundational healing, can often be found in community, can often be found even if we don't have community, and I realize everyone doesn't, can be found in learning to trust ourselves and learning to trust our intuition and know that we are who we present ourselves to be, who we know ourselves to be, regardless of what other people say. And so that is something that the Star brings us, and you might have to go through this cycle many, many, many times before you come out feeling particularly badass, but I think that that is a unique experience that we have that, I don't want to say it's a gift. I think it sucks that we all have to go through it, but like it is something that I think maybe if you're trans can help you to understand that part of the line of the majors. So those are my thoughts. Please leave a comment. I'd love to know what you think about this. Like and subscribe if you enjoy this kind of content, and let me know if there's anything about trans experience in the tarot or queer experience in the tarot that you'd like me to tackle next.